First of all, let's pay homage to the Supreme Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, today also we are going to start yet another discussion that we have been talking about the Four Noble Truths, one of the fundamental teachings of the Supreme Buddha. So last week we started to talk about the third Noble Truth, the cessation of suffering, the Noble Truth of the cessation of suffering. And today we are going to start from the page 134, how to reach nirvana. Okay. How to reach nirvana. Suffering mass of skandhas cease for each person not at once, but progressively in 5 steps. When the meditative disciple striving for nirvana attains to the state of Sotapatti, he surpasses the conditions that make the skandhas born in hell, and also the conditions that make the skandhas born in sensual realm, kama bhava. After 7 rebirths in the sensual realm, this means he, having attained Sotapatti, will not be born in hell forever, and also will not be born in a sensual realm more than 7 times at the maximum. It has already been mentioned earlier, the gargantuanity of the decrease in suffering relative to the balance of suffering that remains. The cessation of the amount of suffering experienced by an attainer of Sotapatti is said to be reaching nirvana for the first time. So here it explains that there are 5 stages of the nirvana, the nibbana, the supreme bliss. So the first stage that we all know, when someone attains to the state of Sotapatti. Sotapatti, Sota word, the literal meaning is stream, the stream. Apatti means one who comes to the stream. Stream means the 8-fold path. So someone generate 8-fold path first time, all the 8 factors in the path consciousness, marga chitta, that is the time that one who attains the Sotapanna level, Sotapanna stage. Before that, I think we have already discussed that one cannot get the 8 factors, 8 path factors at the same time. In the Putujjana, in the worldly stage, someone has to develop them quite separately. Mostly that we've discussed, someone can generate only 5 factors at the same time, but separately that they can develop them. But when someone comes to the Sotapatti, the path chitta, the path consciousness, the marga chitta, at that time only one's get the 8 path factors at once. So those 8 factors have the ability to cut off the defilements, which has the ability to give the more births than the 7 or unlimited times of unlimited occasions that they can give the rebirth. They means what I meant, the defilements. So the Sotapatta Magga the path consciousness and the path factors have that ability to cut off the defilements. So that's why the Sotapanna only remains a maximum 7 rebirths in sensual realms. That's what it mentioned here, and I think that we've discussed before the similes like drops or 7 drops of the water of the ocean only remain suffering that much comparably what yet to face. Like rest of the ocean is like that Sotapanna is eliminated, the suffering. Yes, that's the first time one's experience the nirvana, the Sotapanna level. Then when the one who has attained Sotapatti attains by further striving to Sakadagamihood out of 7 skandhas, 7 lives, 7 rebirths, to be born in sensual realms, that conditions for 6 skandhas or 6 rebirths cease. Therefore, he will only at maximum only 1 birth in a sensual realm. This cessation of the conditions for skandhas to be born for 6 times is said to be reaching nirvana for the 2nd time. The Sakadagami, sucking agami, the definition, which means one who attains the 2nd stage of the sainthood or the spiritual development, he only has the potential or the potency to come to the human realm or the sensual realm only once. That we know the one who attains Sotapanna is free from the 4 woeful states, the 4 hells. So then someone after becoming Sakadagami level, if he has not reached the next or the remaining the spiritual stages, that he could get his rebirth in the heavenly realms and only has the potential to come to the sensual realm once. That's what that's why it is called Sakadagami. Only come back to the human realm one time. So in the 2nd spiritual stage, that he cut off the ability to get the 7 out of 7 rebirths, the 6 rebirths that he cut off, remains only 1. So that's the 2nd time that the person experienced the nirvana. When the one who has attained Sakadagamihood by striving further attains Anagamihood, the conditions which would have made his skandhas born only once in sensual realm also ceases. Therefore, he wouldn't be born in the sensual realm. This of the Anagamin is reaching nirvana for the 3rd time. So, one attains Sotapatti or stream enterer level. So still he has to work quite hard to attain other stages. So then Sakadagami, which means once returner. Then again he works on the spiritual attainments. Then he attains the 3rd spiritual stage, which is called Anagami. So earlier he remained only 1 rebirth in the sensual realm, but when he attains the 3rd spiritual level, which was called Anagami, he eliminates that potential or ability as well. which was ability to come back to the sensual realm once. So anagami simply means non-return. So I think we have discussed the anagami, so the non-returners, where if they do not reach to the arahant level, they would pass away and they get their rebirth in the Suddhavas, which is translated as pure abodes, Panchasuddhavasa. Only the anagamis, the non-returners, get the rebirth in those realms. So that's the third spiritual development, and that spiritual attainment, that they cut off more the defilements. So that's the third level. Then the fourth. When the anagamin, by striving further, attains the state of arahantship, conditions that make the skandhas born in realms of form of formless realms cease. Such a one would not be born anywhere. This arahantship is attaining or reaching nirvana for the fourth time. So, the anagami, the one who attains the third spiritual development, which was called the non-returner level, and still he has to practice the insight meditation, vidarshana bhavana, and finally that he cuts off the rest of the defilements as well, which had the ability to get their rebirth in the non-material realm or immaterial realm, which is called anagami, arupaloka, that we discuss in the 10 bondages like sanyojana, that we know that the arahanta, until someone attain arahanta or anagami, yes, when someone attains anagami, he remained only the lower, not lower, upper bonds like ruparaga, aruparaga, the desire to be born in immaterial realm. Ruparaga, aruparaga, then the conceit, the mana, then restlessness, uddacha, and ignorance, avijja. All these 5 bondages eliminates in the arahanthood. So there is no any potency to get rebirth anywhere else. That's the 4th spiritual stages that someone who has to attain in the Buddhist, the spiritual path. So the 5th time, the final time that he has to attain arahanthood, one of the stages of arahanthood is, after having reached nirvana for the 4th time, the arahant mendicants has only skandhas in the present generated by the past cause. With parinibbana, death, present skandhas dissociate. This is reaching nirvana for the 5th time. So one who attains arahanthood still remains the skandhas, the aggregates, the body, then the psychological, the aggregates, the 5 aggregates simply remains when someone even attains arahanthood. So he has to suffer that because of the remaining skandhas, remaining aggregates, even though he reached the nirvana. So finally, that when he passed away, when he demised, the arahanta attains the nibbana the 5th time. So those are the 5 stages or attains of Buddhist spiritual attainments, or the final bliss, the nibbana. Is anything to be discussed more about these spiritual attainments or eliminating the defilements?
Bhante, I think it's clear.
It's clear, yes. Now let's move on. The two aspects of nirvana. So, earlier that we discussed the 5 stages of nirvana. Now again, it discusses about 2 types of aspects of nirvana. The nirvana experienced by the Sotapattihood to arahantship and final dissolution of the skandhas is in its dual nature of cessation and happiness the same. Though in the ultimate sense the nirvana is the same, yet as far as attainers of Sotapatti, Sakadagami, Anagami and Arahat are concerned, they still have skandhas, and in this aspect they are termed as being in or having attained Sopadisesa nirvana. As nirvana after death of arahant has no skandhas, it is termed Anupadisesa nirvana, and so have stated the commentators. Dveima chakkuma pakasita nibbana dhatu anissitena tadina eke ekahi dhatu ida ditta dhammika sopadisesa bhava nitti sankhya anupadisesa pana samparayika yamhi nirujjanti bhavani sabbaso. The Buddha, the five-eyed one, who has forsaken craving with respect to the skandhas, has proclaimed 2 forms of nirvanic bliss. There is Sopadisesa nirvana, which is experienced in the present life after the cessation of craving, which takes the being from one life to another. Anupadisesa nirvana, which is devoid of whatsoever skandhas and ushers in upon the final dissolution of the skandhas. Although there are disagreements of nirvana's sopadisesa or anupadisesa nature, as the treatise is going to be extended, such facts will not be herein mentioned. So, when one attains the arahanthood, so we've discussed before, he has attained the arahanthood. So until his demise, his skandhas remain. That is what we call saupadisesa. Upadi means the skandhas, the aggregates. I think you might have read or heard the discourses of Bojjhanga, Kassapa Sambojjhanga, Moggallana Sambojjhanga Sutras, which are included in the Pirit or the Paritta book. In those sutras, even Arahantas explains their suffering when they were sick or gravely ill. They explain how they suffer or how painful the sicknesses that they had, which show that even Arahantas had to suffer because of these skandhas. So that is why it is mentioned as Saupadisesa nirvana. Even though they attain Arahanthood, still there is suffering due to the skandhas. So then after the demise of an Arahanta, which means Anupadisesa, very simply means no upadi, no skandhas. That's the simple meaning of anupadisesa nirvana. So this is the two aspects of the nirvana, saupadisesa and anupadisesa. So it is mentioned here there are some controversies on this these two aspects, but still the Venerable Thero has not discussed further as the book going to be extended. So then the nirvana and the being. As arahants do not reborn by arriving at nirvana, so the so-called being is extinguished and dissolved. However, much valued is nirvana, since there is no person who attains to it. It is considered much to the chagrin of the actual truth, something empty to be feared at and useless. It is true that there is no personality that partakes of nirvana. Nirvana is not alone in lacking a personality or being. Even outside nirvana, there is no being in the ultimate sense. Only skandhas or aggregates endure. The five skandhas are existent in the ultimate sense. The rupa or corporeal reality is not the being. Neither feeling nor sensation is the being. No mental formations or consciousness. There is no separate being outside the aggregate of the five skandhas, five aggregates. Therefore, except the literary convention, there is no being whatsoever. So what here discuss is that someone may question, so if the person remains after attain or after passing away, or one who arahanta passing away, whether there is someone after that. So as we even discussed before, there is no one after passing away of an arahant. There is no possibility to get some birth or something like that. So so when once the Buddha was questioned that whether an arahant, actually it was the word tathagata. There tathagata means for a person. Whether tathagata is whether tathagata gets rebirth or something like that. So the answer was so there is no being in the ultimate sense, even before achieving arahanthood. So how someone can be there even after passing away of an arahant? Well, there's no such so-called being even while someone is living. So the only remains is the skandhas, right? The what ceases is also skandhas in ultimate sense, but yes, in conventional truth, or the convention that we use as I, you, we, and all these pronouns, but in ultimate sense, there's no being, only the skandhas, the ultimate realities. But for the position of the world relative to the sun, there is nothing that we can call a day. Sun is not the day. Sun's rays aren't either. No darkness the day, except for these there is nothing we can call a day. A day is just a mode of convention adopted by man. A being, too, is something of a similar nature. By considering being according to convention of the world, one can say that this five skandhas is the inheritor of the nirvana sukha. One who enjoys the fruit of nirvana as much as skandha dukkha by familiar convention is attributed to the bearer of the skandhas. Therefore, one should not be afraid of the fact that there is no being in nirvana. So in conventional reality, in conventional terms, that we can say a person attains the nirvana, since that we use the being, i.e. and person or something like that. So in that sense, we can say that a being attains arahanthood. Yes, that's about the nirvana and the being. So if someone questions that whether someone that there's someone after passing away of an arahant, or whether he gets rebirth, or whether he's eternal or something like that. So the question is invalid, because even before passing away of an arahant, there's no such being, or even any conventional reality that we use, like person or IV or something like that. So there's no being. Only ultimate reality is just manifest as a being. So that is about the nirvana and the being. So that's why it is very important to study the ultimate realities. So when you only study ultimate reality, you can quite grasp these things. Otherwise, it's quite difficult to make sense. So it's very important to have some sound understanding about the ultimate realities. So then the four qualities of nirvana. So before also we discussed about the four qualities about the truth of suffering, and then the four natures of the craving, which was the root cause. Then the four qualities of nirvana as well. As mentioned in the Patisambhida Magga Pali, nirvana should be known by its four qualities. To wit, nissaranatta, vivekatta, asankatatta, and amatatta. So the nissaranatta. By nissaranatta, it meant the liberation from defilements. Wherever the person who has not acquired liberation from defilements, nirvana, stay to whatever position he has reached, that person is not freed from the oppression of defilements, such as sensual attachment, etc. There is he freed from the suffering consequent on dabbling with the aggregates. Yet no is he freed from birth, aging, death, sorrow, grief, and lamentation. Nor is he also freed from suffering incumbent on being born in hell. As nirvana is a state of bliss, absolutely freed from such suffering producing defilements. Those who have achieved nirvana are beyond the domain of those defilements and respective sufferings. The fact that nirvana is untouched by defilements and suffering resulting from such defilements is its quality of nissaranatta. So the nissaranatta means the liberation from the defilements. So as long as someone has defilements, he is supposed to get rebirth. And not only rebirth, rest of other suffering as well, as we've discussed before. Even though they get their rebirth in the heavenly realms, even non-material realm, right? They also in the domain of suffering, no matter how they enjoys their the divine bliss, but still they have the potential to come to the human realm and even lower realms. So we've discussed how beings suffer in the samsara, in the human realm and animal realm, and other ghost realm and hell, and how beings suffer there because of the defilements. Even beings get their rebirth in the fine material realm and immaterial realm, which has the eons of longevity, but still they are in the suffering. So one who cut off, one who eliminates, eradicates all the defilements, which means he is free from all the suffering. So the nirvana has owns the one of these qualities, which was called the nissaranapta, which means liberation from defilements. So that's the first quality of nirvana. Right. Then the vivekatta, number 2. By vivekatta is meant nirvana's emptiness of defilement and attendant suffering. Whatever life or in whichever position the person yet to attain nirvana may find, he lives with the weight of defilements and incumbent suffering. He has no relief from defilements, no retirement from a knowing of defilements. Neither does he enjoy the liberation from the suffering mass of skandhas. As nirvana is the complete cessation of the dust of defilements and suffering, it is 100% bereft of whatsoever defilements or suffering, as much as heat being absent in the absolute coldness, and the darkness find no footing amidst light. Therefore, for one who has reached nirvana, there is no cause to fear the defilements that in turn trigger suffering. So also there are no causes to fear that the ceased dukkha might re-arise, or that the ceased defilements might re-arise. This complete absence of defilements and dukkha is nirvana, is its quality of vivekatta. So, when someone attains the nirvana, the nirvanic bliss, he is free from, again, defilements and the dukkha. So that is why it is called vivekatta, something quite similar to the nissaranatta, liberation from the defilements. Here the complete absence, viveka means absence here, of defilements and the dukkha. So as we discussed before, one attains the arahanthood, has no any suffering due to defilements. So the putujjanas is not like that. Even sometimes they can suppress the defilements while they're learning the teachings or while practicing meditation or something like that, but sometimes they again are dominated by defilements. That's the nature of the putujjanas. And not only that, they commit some heinous crimes as well because of the ability of the cravings or the other defilements. So it is very dangerous to remain as a putujjana according to these teachings. So they can commit, they have potential to commit any sort of crimes, as we know. So when someone attains the nirvana, he is completely free from defilements, completely free from uh, the sinful deeds, which have the ability to give enormous suffering in the samsara. So the second quality of the nirvana is vivekatte, which means complete absence of defilements and the suffering. Then asankatatte, lack of the need of aid for its nirvana's sustenance, lack of the need for securing it day and night, and also the lack of the need for regeneration comprise the quality of asankatatte. Skandhas generated from causes such as karma is of the nature of constantly wearing away, decaying, and complete dissolution. Therefore, for the one who lives with the skandhas, loving them, a lot of work needs to be done in order to that the worn out parts of the body be regenerated, the body be not weak, and that it be not left to perish. One has to take a lot of food. This agglomerate of skandhas needs clothing and for safety to be kept inside houses. Thus, with a view to supplying these necessities and to remain the five skandhas, the being has to work incessantly. If the inhabitants of this world engage in some activities day and night, those activities are engaged in for the sake of the five skandhas. However much the five aggregates are protected with food and medicine, eventually they die and dissolve. Consequently, the so-called being, in order to beget a new set of skandhas after death, should partake of acts of charity and refrain from sinful actions. Once after begetting a new set of skandhas is a subsequent life, one is condemned to the same drudgery as was the case in previous lives to secure the unbroken continuity of skandhas. So long one loves his skandhas, thus long would there be not any cessation from suffering, and suffering would continue ad infinitum, concomitant with existence of the desire. So the asankatatte that we discussed, the sankata dukkha, I guess you remember in the suffering, in the truth of suffering, we discussed the sankata dukkha. One who has to do thousands of activities to maintain their lives. They have to work, they have to feed, they have to do various things to maintain, to sustain, to prevail. That is what we've discussed as sankata dukkha, the making necessary conditions to remain or live. But when someone attains arahanthood, there's nothing that sankata dukkha. Sankata dukkha means the fact that someone has to do many activities to simply for living. But when someone attains arahanthood, attains nirvana, there's nothing to do to maintain or for the sustenance of the nirvana. That is one of the qualities which is called asankatattaya. Sankata means something that conditioned arise based on conditions. So asankata means cause without any cause or without any conditions. So we only find the nirvana That is why it is called asankata dhatu. So it is one of the qualities of the nirvana, the fact that there is nothing to do to maintain the sustenance of the nirvana. Nirvana is not something that has arisen by means of a cause such as karma. It is nirvana's existence is unborn. Since nirvana is uncaused, in its existence unborn, it does not wear away. Neither is there decaying nor shattering. Wearing away and shattering are characteristic of the things or elements arising from causes. Nirvana is of a nature as of light as opposed to darkness, coldness as opposed to hotness, happiness as opposed to anguish, and unborn, undecaying state as opposed to born. Decaying and shattering states. Being not born and decaying, it remains forever the same. Thus, the one who has reached nirvana does not have to trouble himself by way of repairing and replenishing the worn out parts. Nor is there anything to do in connection with securing and sustaining nirvana. Nor yet is there anything to do in the form of ushering in a new nirvana in place of the old nirvana. This fact of not having to do anything to sustain and maintain nirvana and its quality of asankatatta. So that's the third quality which nirvana possesses. The asankatatta simply means not having to do anything to sustain or maintain nirvana. So that's the third quality. So then the last one, the amatattaya. Persistence for ever without wearing away and eventually dying, leaving no trace is a quality of amatattaya. The skandhas arising from causes, such as karma, which is considered by an ordinary person as a soul, does not persist even the time interval occupied by the batting of an eyelid. A little time afterwards, its skandha's whole generation come to an end. Taking cause-generated skandhas for a soul and extremely attached to it, the being has no whatsoever opportunity to live without the fear of death. He, the being, always lives with the fear of death hovering about him. For the one who has reached nirvana, which persists eternally and is without any cause, has no fear of death, unshattered, remaining forever, and perfect stability comprise nirvana's quality of amatattva. If in something there are the quality of nissaranattva, which signifies transcending of suffering, vivekattva, which signifies the unadmixturedness with suffering, asankatattva, which signifies the lack of need for renewal and replenishment, and amatattva, which signifies eternal persistence and stability, that is the dukkha nirodha arya satya. The truth of the cessation of suffering, the one and only one thing that possesses these four qualities, is nirvana. Therefore, the declarer of the truth, the Blessed One, asserted that the truth of the cessation of suffering is nirvana. So the last one is amatattva. Amata simply means deathless. So we know the skandhas or the ultimate realities always cease. So there are two sort of perishing of skandhas. They are called, one is called Kanika Nirodha. Kanika Nirodha means the momentary cease or decaying or passing away. We all know that the skandhas or the ultimate realities, they arise due to causes. And eventually they pass away. The ultimate realities do not remain even for a fraction of a second. It does not remain. So it arises due to causes and ceases. That's the nature. But what happened in the nirvana, when someone attains nirvana, which means they eliminates or they cease the realities which were supposed to arise. That is what is called in Pali Anuppanna Nirodha. Right? Anuppanna, unarisen cease, that we can say. So in the nirvana, there's nothing, I mean, there is no that characteristic or that quality or the nature of, we could say, even impermanence, right? Arise due to conditions and cease. That's the nature of conditioned things or the skandhas. But that nature in the nirvana is absent. That is why it is called amatattaya. One of the qualities is amatattaya. There is no nature of decaying or shattering or passing away. The nirvana remains as an ultimate reality eternally. So that's the quality is called amatattaya. And as this explains, only these four qualities can be found in the nirvana, the unconditioned reality, the nirvana. So these are the factors that about the nirvana or the cessation of suffering. So I would like to teach you a little bit more something else about the being. It is not in this book, it is in Visuddhimagga, I found. So this is some advice given by the Buddha to a monk. I think you might have heard about Mogaraja. There was a monk called Mogaraja. So it explains about that about the realities of about the ultimate realities. Sunyato lokang avekkassu Mogaraja sada sato attano ditting uhacha evang machu tarosya evang lokang avekkantang machu rajana passati. Which means the Mogaraja, always be mindful. See the world as emptiness. World here means the five aggregates as emptiness. There's no such a being. There's no a soul. So so someone who sees this reality, he overcomes the Mara. Machurajana Passati. Someone who sees the ultimate realities as they are empty. So they exceeds the Mara's realm. Machurajana Passati. Evang lokang avikkantang. These ultimate realities that we have to see as soulless, anatta, and nisatta. There is no being, only ultimate realities. So someone who sees in this the realities can be freed from the Mara's realm. Then nahetta devo na brahma sansarasanti karako sunya dhamma pavattanti hetu sambhara pacchaya. So nahetta devo na brahma. Even though we use the terms as deva, brahma, there is no so-called being, only a generation of psychophysical energies. Sansarasatti karako. Sunya dhamma pavattanti. Only ultimate realities. So that's what it simply means. There's no so-called deva or brahma or being, only ultimate realities that happens constantly. Then there's a very beautiful stanza. Yes, dukkha mevahi na kochi dukkhito karako na kiriyava vijjati atti nibbuti na nibbuto puma magga matti gamako na vijjati. It simply means dukkha mevahi, only remain the suffering. Na kochi dukkhito, there's no a being who suffers or who experiences suffering. So we know that in the ultimate reality, only remain, in ultimate sense, only remains ultimate realities. For an example, like here it mentioned there's no being, only suffering, which means suffering means that according to the Abhidhamma analysis, the truth of suffering, which means 81 chittas, then 51 mental factors, except craving, 28 corporal realities. So the rupa is called dukkha arya satta, only ultimate realities. But in conventional terms, we call a being. But here explains that only there is suffering. So we have even discussed before sankittena panchupadana khandha dukkha, which simply means there's only the suffering. There's no being there. So that's why it means here dukkha mevahi na kochi dukkhito, only suffering, which means these ultimate realities. No someone who suffers in ultimate sense. Karako na kiriyava vijjati, there's no a doer, simply. Karako means a doer, someone who does something. Kiriyava vijjati, only manifest sort of action. We discussed before, the ultimate reality means nothing but actions. Ultimate reality means it's not a sort of thing. It's not of some material or something. It's always activities. So that's why I mentioned krutya pamanakya, only action. Then there is there's ultimate bliss, atti nibbuti na nibbutopuma, which means there's ultimate bliss or the nibbana, the ultimate realities, but there's no person who has come to the nirvana. Then again, there's a path. There's no one seems in the walking the path. Gamakona vijjati. Simply there's no walker on the path. Only the magga or the path. So it is maybe quite difficult to understand, but if you have some understanding on the two types of realities as we've discussed before, this is talk about the ultimate realities. In the ultimate sense, though we, in ordinary parlance, that we use the beings, but in the ultimate sense only there are some realities we call ultimate realities. Dhammo dhammang vipassati. In the ultimate sense, if we say, yes, conventionally we say someone practice meditation or do insight meditation, but in ultimate sense, only the dhammas or the ultimate realities do the job, which means the dhamma, the ultimate realities, sees or we can say experience the things. So that's what it simply means here. There is no being in the ultimate sense, only the ultimate realities, but they have some ability to manifest as a being. It is something extra that I explain. So anything to discuss more or clarify?
Bhante, I was right. This at the start of this Amatatya, it
Yes.
says persistence forever without wearing away.
Yes.
And eventually dying, leaving no trace of, is the quality of Amatatya. But at the last part of that para, it says unshattered, remaining forever. So that seems to be a contradictory there.
Here it talks about the person.
In the first one.
Yes.
Okay.
Eventually dying. Yeah, it's about the person. In the Ratana Sutta, as it explains, when the fire or when the what do you call that?
Flame.
Yes, that, what was the word?
The flame. The
flame. Yes, the flame disappears. It goes nowhere. That sort of thing it explains here.
Okay.
Yes.
So it refers to the quality of nirvana, that as Amatatya, not the person's ending.
This is a river without wearing away and eventually dying, leaving no trace, is the quality of Amatattva.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. So if there is no question, that I can explain a little bit more on the defilements. So we've discussed the nirvana and being, the how one who attains the spiritual stages and how they eradicate or eliminates the defilements. So defilements have 3 layers, right? One is called latent tendencies, anusaya. They always there is some sort of ability of defilements. They remains as anusaya. Then when a suitable occasion arise, they come to sort of like come out. And third level is called transgression, which means sort of action happen. Like in Pali, we call anusaya the latent stage. Then pariyuttana, it comes to sort of surface. Then transgression, vitikkama. So anusaya, the unwholesome sort of ability is always remain in the beings. That is called anusaya. That is why when a suitable occasion that mostly no one needs to put some efforts to react in unwholesome way. Like for an example, if someone start to blame, somebody's eventually get angry. Or when someone meets some pleasurable objects, so he does not want to put some efforts to arise the lobha or the cravings. So it like automatically happens because that the anusaya, the remaining sort of defilements come out. And then if he can't control those emotions, that he probably would do something on it. That is what we call vitikkama, which means he supposed to do something, some unwholesome deed, maybe saying some bad words, or even could kill someone or something like that, or steal or whatever. So these 3 layers, but that's why someone has to always practice the mindfulness. And if we are not mindful, always most probably the unwholesome thoughts dominate. So what happens when someone attains these higher spiritual stages? They sort of eliminates that the latent tendencies, latent nature of the unwholesome realities, unwholesome defilements. But when it comes to wholesome, there is no explanation, something like that. Wholesome anusaya or something. It always about defilements, unwholesome realities. So these 3 layers can be found in putujjanas, but when someone attains these higher spiritual stages like sohan and other spiritual attainments, they decrease the ability to remain the defilements in latent tendencies. So ultimately, the arahanta eliminates all these, even latent tendencies as well. So this is the simple explanation on the defilements. So the putujjanas, the worldlings, always has the I would say the upper hand on the defilements. It is like something heavy rock, putting on like a mountain area that have the ability to fall down. So the Putujjana's nature is always prone to unwholesome activities because of that anusaya and the latent tendencies of unwholesome um, or the defilements. Yes, if there are no any questions or any other questions, that we can wind up today here, and we can continue the fourth, the noble truths, fourth noble truth in the next time.
Avasarai Bhante.
Yes.
As an anagami, can you still have the defilements as a kind of latent
Yes.
defilements?
Yes, he remains defilements as we barely discussed the five upper, they are called Uddambhagiya Sanyojana, five upper bondages. Like they still have the defilements or the desire to be born in the fine material realm and immaterial realm.
That is the Ruparaga and the Aruparaga.
Aruparaga is they do not have the desire towards the sensual objects.
Yeah.
Yes. Kamaraga, they don't have the Kamaraga, but they have so in if we talk about the ultimate realities like the chitta, unwholesome chittas, they have four, they can appear the four lobha chittas, like ditti vippayutta chittas, and they can appear those chittas. Ditti vippayutta lobha chittas.
Okay, yes. The four lobha chittas, yeah.
Yes.
But not patiga?
Not patiga as well.
Not patiga.
Yes, they eliminate the two dosa chittas as well.
And no moha chittas as well.
There's one, Uddacha, not
Uddacha.
no, Avijja, right? Yes, Avijja. Yes, sorry, yes, Uddacha, yes, that's correct.
Uddacha is present.
Yes, yes, because the Vichikicha is eliminated in the first,
yeah.
yes, in the first, yes, Sotapan, yes. Yeah. So the five chittas still remain among 12 unwholesomes.
Yeah. So yes. Can they come to the Pariuttana and the Vitikama stages in a Sotapanna?
According to the teachings, that it says they cannot perform like they cannot break 5 precepts.
Yes, right.
Yes, but still they have still anger, like they cry and they can shout.
Yeah.
Yes, something like that can happen.
Yeah. Would that form part of the patiga then? Or crying and things like that? Patiga, like it's more like dvesha, isn't that right?
Yes, yes, yes. When someone is crying, or even Arahant, even Sotapan can shout at someone.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Yes. And grieving, shoka, it's also happened because of the anger.
Okay, so the four lobha chittas and even the dvesha chittas, they can have, that means.
You mean Sotapanna?
Yes.
Yes, the Sotapanna has
eliminated.
Is eliminated ditti, which means the lobha chittas associated with the ditti or the wrong view eliminates.
Yeah.
Then the four other lobha chitta remains.
Right.
Then
Yes.
2 dosa chitta remains as well, and the
Yes.
uddacha
And the
remains.
Uddacha,
Yes,
yes.
so which means 5, the 7 chittas
7 chittas remain, yes.
remain. Yes,
Yeah.
for stream enter the Sotapanna.
Right.
Mm.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Then the Anagami, the Sakadagami, it says that Kamaraga Patiga, the sensual desire and the hatred is reduced. There's no any explanation about eliminating or disappearing unwholesome chittas, but they reduce sort of unwholesome abilities, as we've discussed before. The Sotapanna only can get rebirth 7 times in the sensual realm, but Sakadagami only once.
Yeah.
So it shows sort of how much defilements that they reduce. That had the ability to give 7 or the 6 more rebirths in the sensual realm. That ability is eliminated.
Yes.
Then the Anagami, the non-returner level, they don't get the hatred chittas, 2 hatred chittas, which means altogether 7 chittas do not appear in them. Like for the Ditti chittas,
Yeah.
and the Vichikicha chitta, and the 2 hatred chittas. All those 7 chittas disappear from them.
Yeah.
The Anagamis. Yes, so the Arhantas, so the Anagamis can appear only 5 unwholesome chittas, but still they are very, very subtle, not like gross, like sensual desires.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes, it's okay.
Bhante, the Bhava Trishna remains till the Arahant stage, no? That's why you...
Yes, exactly. That's about Trishna means to be born in the...
Born again, yeah.
Yeah, born in the fine material realm and immaterial realm.
Yes, so that is only eradicated in the final...
Exactly,
Arahant.
yes. Bhavaraga, right?
Yeah, Bhavaraga.
Bhavaraga.
Yes.
Stage.
So when you have some idea about the unwholesome chittas, you can quite clarify this, how these unwholesome abilities, disappear as they attain the spiritual stages. Okay, then we can wind up here today.
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, seems like no more questions. Okay, then today we are going to wind up here our Dhamma talk, Dhamma discussion. So by discussing these noble Dhamma, that we generated so many or enormous amounts of wholesome thoughts in our hearts. So let's transfer these merits to the departed ones. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Let's transfer merits to the deities as well. ittavatacha amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya ittavatacha amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya ittavatacha amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. By the power of the merits that we've generated right now, may lead us to supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Teruvan saranai hendinatu.
Teruvan saranai.
Teruvan saranai.
Teruvan saranai Bante.
Teruvan saranai.